Okay, so somebody was asking a question on Reddit about how to work on reading chord charts. And I started typing, and I realized I should probably just make a quick video because it's easier to show this on a keyboard. As you might be able to tell, I am sick AF. And on top of that, I got rear-ended in front of the gym the other day, about a week ago. And yeah, the doctor did say I had a concussion, and I was told that I could not play, or I should stay away from sounds and light and reading and I don't know, anything that's cognitively taxing, like no screens, no nothing. And I'm thinking nothing cognitively taxing. Oh, good Lord. Like, that's literally what I do for a living. Regardless, I did have to cancel some things. I actually had an orchestra concert where I was playing trumpet like 2 days later from then, and I had to cancel an accompaniment for a choir. I had to get subs for all those things. That was not fun. Luckily, they were the kinds of things I could get a sub for. Yeah. Anyway, what are we talking about? Chord charts here, right? So just be aware, I'm going to be probably a little foggier than normal. So to start with, just make sure, like, you need the technical fundamentals of being able to play your chords in every key, in all inversions. So just start doing this kind of thing, right? In every key. Caesar, if I'm not talking. And just work your way around the circle of fourths or fifths, whatever, whichever way you want to think about it. And do it in every key for your majors, and then for your minors, and do it a little cleaner than I'm doing it. A big part of what you want to be doing while you're doing this, you need to be thinking about spelling. You need to think what notes make these chords. Good Lord, what was that? Yeah, there we go. You need to be thinking about which notes make each of these chords. You need to be able to spell them. That's going to be important. You mentioned jazz, and I don't think I'm going to go too deep into the jazz stuff because it doesn't sound like you're close enough to be at that spot, and that's real in the weeds. That gets pretty dense, so I think it's probably beyond the scope of this. But anyway, triads in every key first, right? And then from there, start playing some progressions. Start with something simple like a 1-5 progression, right? And pick a really simple comping pattern. Here's one I like. Basically just quarter notes. And just, something slightly rhythmic in your left hand. Just playing the roots of each chord. And then do that. Whoa, hold up. Before I say every key. Yes, every key. But the other thing you want to do is you want to do that while also changing inversions. So let's say that I'm going to go up. So instead of doing this, I go, right? So, and you can just keep going up. These aren't all the best choices, but then go down. You're looking for the best, closest. Try to look for the best, closest voice leading in each direction. So you're just moving from inversion to inversion, up and down. And you need to be able to do that. And then obviously start doing that in every key. Once again, if I was doing the whole 1, 5, and F. Whoops. What am I doing? And so on, right? And then B flat. Oh, my brain. But that's kind of the idea. Make sure that you can do that. I'd start with 1-5. And then when you can do that kind of thing, move to some slightly longer chord progressions, particularly something involving the 6th chord. Because we want to be using those minors that we talked about. So if I'm in, we'll go with the axis progression, right? 5, 6, 4, 1, 5, 6, 4, right? And then, move to the next key. and so on, right? Do that in every key. You can do the same idea with the axis progression where you're moving your inversion up. Sorry, wrong progression. I was doing the doo-wop one. Alright? And then just keep going up. What progression am I doing? And down. Same. But you need to be able to play basically from every chord. You want to be able to get to the next chord smoothly in any direction. You don't need to be limited to where like, oh, if I'm playing from C to G, I can only play this variation of it. You need to have the fluency to be able to play that everywhere on the keyboard, going in any direction. From there, I would get a lead sheet, fake book, something, and just start playing some tunes. I grabbed a fake book because I was like, surely something in here is familiar to somebody. I don't know. I probably should have grabbed a Disney book, but whatever. This is what's on the stand. It's a Broadway fake book. I got a little bit of Les Mis open here. So like the first little tune here. Right? If you know that tune, do you hear the people sing? So then just take that chord progression, apply it to this. I wish I could sing. I don't think my voice can make pitches, or I would try to give you an idea. Anyway, that's terrible, but you get the point, right? That's what I'm doing. I'm playing over that tune. I don't know. Let's jump over. We got I Dreamed a Dream, right? I dreamed a sorry. Right? Or I'm sorry, I should check the key there first and get the key in my head. Anyway, the idea is you just need to read through lots of charts, hopefully with lots of triads, not like a real book, like a jazz real book yet. We're not going there. Make sure that you can comfortably read just charts, right? Using one simple chord progression, you notice that, or one comping pattern. You notice that comping pattern pretty much worked for all of those songs. It's not the best one, but it works okay. It's easy, and it applies to a whole lot of things. Anyway, so that's the idea there, is that you just want to be able to read a lot of stuff, because you need the application part of it, the reading and actually going, oh, this is this chord and I need to play it this way. And just like if you were sight reading, you need to get better at trying to keep your eyes off your hands. I definitely was glancing a little bit there myself, but yeah, try to do that. Because you might need to do other things like sing words, or I don't know. I don't know what your goals are in the long term, but it's useful to have more than just the comping, being able to accompany yourself singing and things like that. Now, I will cover a couple of other things that are probably slightly outside the scope of where you probably need to be right now, but just, think of these as stretch goals. At some point, go beyond your triads. I would probably say for the kind of basic stuff you're doing now, learn your dominant seventh chords in every inversion first. Those are going to be really useful. And then eventually, once you start getting to more jazzy stuff, start working on minor sevens, right? And major sevens. Oh, good Lord. And be able to play those every key, every inversion. That's just a technical exercise that you can do probably without needing a book, and in some ways might be better without a book. you're just trying to spell and go around the circle of fifths. Absolutely, if you want to have a circle of fifths in front of you, absolutely use that. Um, if you're trying to do something like chord progressions in every key, and you're really having trouble getting to where you can spell those quickly, write it down on a piece of paper, like as a chord chart of your own, and just cheat. Use it to cheat. Like it's not even really cheating, because your goal, at least right now, is less improv focused and it's more about reading charts. So getting good at associating what's on the page with what you're doing is useful. And I would say, while you probably can find a printed out version, do write it down yourself. That will force you to at least spell through all of these ones. So just make a line and be like, okay, I'm gonna let's say we do the doo-wop progression. So you write down, you think, okay, my 1 chord is C, so what's my 6 chord? It's A minor, and then what's my 4 chord? And it's F, and what's my 5 chord? It's G. Then the next key will be F. So what's my 6 chord? It's D minor, and what's my, and write these down. Write them each on a line, and then use that later as just your practice sketch, so that you can focus on things like your inversions, and just what's going on in your hand, your comping patterns, and you're not thinking so much about, oh God, what's my next chord? Yes, at some point you definitely want to be at a point where you just do know all of your chords and all those keys, and that'll probably come with time and repetition, even if you do use a cheat sheet to start with. So I actually kind of think you probably should use a cheat sheet, but I would recommend writing it down, and maybe write it down more than once. You can keep going back to the same one, but occasionally just make yourself write it down. If you actually want to get really good at just knowing your chords in every key, that's something you can practice away from the keyboard. You could just be sitting anywhere and be like, okay, I'm in C, so the chord progression is C, A minor, F, G. Okay, if I'm in F, it's F, D minor, B flat, C. If I'm in B flat, it's B, G minor, E flat, F, and so on. You can just do that mentally. You don't need to have anything going on at the piano to make that happen. But anyway, so those are things to do. We talked about the minor sevens and the major sevens and the dominant sevens. Dominant sevens are going to be really useful for like everything. Those others are going to be useful for like a lot of average stuff, but they'll be really more useful in jazz, except I would tell you to go down a whole different route with like 3/7 voicings for jazz first, but we're just not going to go there because that's just way too in the weeds. The next stretch goal thing that I would say is to learn to use this not just to use chord charts, but to be able to actually play a lead sheet, a lead sheet, and realize it into an arrangement. And the more you practice this, the more you can do this on the fly. I don't find myself in positions where I'm playing like this as much anymore, so I'm a little rusty, but here's the idea. You would go to that song, like, right? Play the bass parts and the melody, right? So play your melody with it, then go back, and whatever speed you need to go, start adding some chord tones underneath that. So like my first chord is F, so the whole time I'm just thinking, what notes can I grab from that F chord? And luckily, since I've done this thing, my hand is used to those shapes, so I can find lots of things under this. Oh, this is kind of weird. And so on. Kind of hard to. I've got B flat over F there. And that's a time that you can think. Don't be so worried about staying in time as much as you're thinking, especially early on. Think about what notes are in there. If I get to that and I'm thinking, if I'm going, okay, the next chord is G. I've got this in the melody note. What are the other notes I can grab? Oh, I can grab the B flat and the D. And then the C. What notes can I grab under that F? Well, the E is probably going to be too crunchy, so I'll just grab the C. that kind of stuff. You have to think through that and just get it good at doing it in real time. I don't know that I can side comp anything. Or wow. Well, sorry, man, my brain. Like I said, fuzzy brain. And I don't do this that often anymore. But see, this is a really fun and useful thing to do because now you can just take a fake book, and if you're not accompanying somebody singing or playing an instrument or whatever, you can make an on-the-spot arrangement of a tune like this with a little practice and make it passable. Yeah. I think my brain's done, so I think I'm just going to call it there. I don't know if any of this was useful, but just thought I would throw this out there.